Welcome everyone to another episode of Lessons Learned. My name is Vincent Vezzo. I am an author. I'm the founder of Hidden Treasure Novels, and I am the regional representative for the North Carolina Writers Network, Metro North region. The North Carolina Writers Network hosts two conferences a year, spring conference and one in the fall. This year, the network has had to go virtual, like so many other folks out there in this day of COVID restriction. But that didn't stop the network, and it didn't stop the members, the authors in our region from participating in what I thought was one of the best conferences to date. I'm so pleased today to introduce to you Dr. Larry Jones and Audrey Jones, authors of Falling Through the Ceiling, and active members of this North Carolina Writers Network regional area. And they're going to share with you today some lessons that they learned from 3 of the sessions that they attended. And I'd like to turn it over now to Audrey and Larry to share the lessons that you learned at the North Carolina Writers Network Conference.
Yes, we were able to attend the conference again. And this was a very creative way of doing it that they have produced for the annual conference. But just briefly, I myself am a retired pediatrician and now ADHD and life coach. And as Vincent said, the authors of Falling Through the Ceiling, a story about raising our 3 ADHD sons and realizing that I myself too have ADHD. But like I said, we truly enjoyed the conference. I'll let Audrey have a few words.
Well, we enjoyed this conference. The last conference, we wrote a little review about what we had liked best, and we're very happy to have the opportunity to share with our group the lessons that we learned from fiction. We attended fiction, touring on promoting your book on a budget, and the importance of understanding the book business. And that's what we'd like to talk about.
Wonderful. Well, let's go to the first one of those sessions, fiction from concept to publication. And that's my genre. And I know several of the members in our group are fiction writers. So there's never enough time, but I hope that you were able to get some information you could share with the group about the author and the presenter.
Well, Matthew Collier is an interesting young man writer based in LA, and he of course was on book tour with his current book at the time that COVID happened, and this became, and presenting to us became part of his book tour, because he's in LA, but he's presenting to us here in North Carolina. But he went through everything. He is seasoned at how to prepare to write fiction, how to pick your story. He explained how he picked his stories. He talked about the elements for success in writing. He talked about how you establish those elements because of what you know, what you're presenting about yourself, how you turn it into a story, and then of course all the other steps, but most importantly, how you find your market, because he says the greatest book written, if it's not sold, nobody knows about it. And he also talked about how to submit books for publication to.
Are you breaking up?
More about that when we were in the session with the industry professionals.
Awesome. Well, I hope that we will be able to get recordings of that session at some point in time. It's certainly something, I wish we could attend all the sessions. Obviously we couldn't, but maybe there's a way to get that asynchronously. So I am exploring that possibility with the state association. Let's see what we can do there. The second one that we wanted to highlight, you attended a session called The Importance of Understanding the Book Business. Can you share a little bit about the presenters there and what you learned from that session?
Well, the presenters were stellar because they were people who learned from their experiences. not people who came into the business as business people. They came into the business as writers, ghost writers, but all of them are work in specific genre, which they told us a lot about. When you are Emmanuel Morgan, Aaron Hosier, and Betsy Thorpe talked a lot about how to choose the company to submit your book for publication, how to look at the genre that are being published by that company or that segment of the company, and how to find match with what.
Wow, that
One
it's
other thing that was important, and that was to consider the different formats that your book might be presented in, including considering serializing a piece in a series of podcasts. And I thought that was really interesting.
yeah, we definitely want to explore that, especially, with our group. We had kicked that idea around about creating a podcast, and there are several that are out there that we might be able to leverage. So as we move forward with that, certainly we want to circle back with you and learn more about how to do that and what is the most efficient way to get that information out there.
One additional comment on that. Really, what these industry folks are really telling us is to find your niche, how you're able to segment the market and find the niche for your book, starting with the publisher, how you use social media, as well as how the other authors in that genre by that publisher were able to get their works out and sold. So by putting together, you basically are copying the techniques that the others use for this publisher and that genre in order to be able to push your book forward.
Got it. Wow. Well, there's, my mind is exploding with all the information we're gaining here.
Yeah.
The next session, yeah, we wanted to get to the point of touring and promoting your book on a budget, especially now in the day of COVID. It's so difficult to try to figure out ways to promote. We can't go on the tour like we used to in the good old days, right? So can you share a little bit about what you learned from Lindsay Hall?
Well, we love Lindsay Hall's. We talked about how we didn't have time in the sessions to ask questions. So we did reach out to her and she did respond. And we sent her our video promotion, which was one of the things that she talked about. And she brought her client, Matthew Collier, who presented about fiction, who did the comprehensive presentation on writing fiction. He is one of her clients and he is on book tour. And as she said, presenting to other groups is an opportunity to present your book when you can't do library readings or other kinds of traditional presentations. There's the possibility to share your book through right through the presentation at conferences. And she was just exciting. She talked about all the things that she had done. She had an event called Backyard Salon, and I think that we should definitely do it with our group because it was a way of promoting the book without the expense of renting a facility. It was simple things that we can do. And she talked about serializing the books on Facebook. And she also talked about contacting a university near you to see if there's any opportunity to participate in a course as a guest lecturer and also to present to book clubs. So we're about to use that, and we'll talk about the things that we're trying to do based on what we learned from her. But she talked about holiday promotions and that every book, every author should have a holiday promotion, a package of their books or whatever for gifts. We're looking at doing something towards the new year rather than specifically for Christmas. And she talked about how we need to participate in local public school activities. And we in the First and 10 mentoring program where we talk about developing the village for children using our basic experience and our basic platform. She said that was something that we knew that we were doing that was something that we felt was important to do. And she said that's important to show your personal beliefs and interests in the way you present your book. So, and one of the ways that she talked about expressing that is creating what they call a hashtag bookstagram, which is just an Instagram account for your organization or for your book title. Or for us, we would probably create it for our Enabled Tables media company. But anyway, it's where you just talk about books and talk and it gives you an opportunity to blog about your book, blog about other books, many of the things that we've talked about, Vince, in our group, and things that Jim has told us about. So,
Audrey, could we do a bookstagram for our region, for the Metro North region? Is that possible, or?
I believe. Oh yeah, we look at it. If you look online, I just looked it up on Google. If you look on Google at Bookstagram, and it explains how to do it, how to set it up, and then but it's really just an Instagram account that always, whenever you mention anything, you always hashtag Bookstagram, so that people will know that whatever you're saying will be in the Bookstagram blog, which is
okay. I'll do some research on that, because that sounds like another opportunity. You know, we have this lessons learned channel that we share with the group, and that would be another way. Of course, we have our newsletter, so I'm thinking that there's another way for the region to stay connected in this day of COVID, and who knows how long it's going to be before we get to meet again in person. So
exactly.
And
I am
can I make one more comment then? The one thing I did particularly like was the idea of book clubs. Was one of the things that we've talked about in the past is those virtual book clubs. And I went online yesterday, and for the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Library System, there are 22 virtual book clubs that are already in action. So our next step would be to sort of segment those groups. So some of them are for children, some for adolescents, some for seniors, to find out which of those book clubs that are currently still meeting virtually would be appropriate for us to talk about our book.
As our group, to reach out as a group to the library system and say, we have a number of authors in various genres, and we would like to reach out to their various book clubs.
That is a wonderful idea, and I won't volunteer you to be the point person on that, Audrey.
No.
But if you get me the information, I will reach out.
I'll get you the information. I'll get you the information. And so we started to look at the promotions, what we were doing, and how those promotions lined up with what Lindsay had talked about. And so, like I mentioned, the First and 10 mentoring collaboration, because it demonstrates our beliefs, it demonstrates what we believed in when we wrote our book, and it connects us to the public school system. And our book about ADHD is an important title for parents and the staff to consider. And then we started creating these, because we have a talented assistant, let me say, we started creating our iMovies, promoting our not-for-profit, which is Enabled Tables Media, and our table talks, which are going on now. We are doing a series of talks via Zoom and inviting everyone, the general public. We're putting on Facebook. We've invited, I know Vince, you've helped us to invite people to talk about, Larry.
Yeah, these 4 talks basically are given by professionals who have combined experience of more than 30 years in virtual education, mostly at the college level. But through our relations with them, they have brought their conversation down to a level that will work for parents in primary schools from kindergarten through 12th grade in order for those students to be successful. there's some key things that parents need to do to structure the environment in a way that helps to promote success. So we'll have the second of those this evening, and there are two more to follow, which will encapsulate all of the things that parents can do on their own and with some assistance from the school in collaboration with instructors in the school to help to assure more success in those students.
Yeah, I was able to attend the session last week, and I will definitely be there this evening. It's a wonderful opportunity, and goes really strikes to the heart of all of the folks that are dealing with the COVID restrictions right now, not just the ADHD community, but across the general spectrum. We're all dealing with new ways to get in touch and stay in touch. So I appreciate your doing that for us.
Of course, we're available, and they are available to speak to other groups, not just on our own series, but we are available to speak to other groups and do similar presentations.
Right. Well, we've got the word out through the network in our region and in several other venues. So hopefully we'll have a good attendance tonight as well, and for the next two sessions prior to the holiday. And I encourage viewers to visit your website, enabletables.com, to take a look at your book. For those folks out there that have not yet had an opportunity to read Falling Through the Ceiling, it's a marvelous read. And I'd like to just find out if there's any final comments you have, Larry and Audrey, for the audience.
Yeah, a couple of things. One, there will be a New Year's package that we're putting together. We'll begin to promote. So talk a little bit about that this evening, but by next week, we'll have that option available. Something to help folks to start the new year off fresh. In addition, you know, as a ADHD and life coach, you know, I'm available through our website, enabletables.com, on the coaching tab, to be able to assist families with a little more detail, a little more structure, and help to hold them accountable as they develop these programs and develop the keys for success for their individual family. Because these will be individualized action plans that the families will create based upon this Education Village Conversation series.
And I would like to say, Vince, so much for keeping us on track, because you always keep us on track to continue to record. We do things, but we don't write them down necessarily. And you say, wait a minute, that's a big list here. Let me write all this down. And you encourage all of us as writers and presenters to continue in the process, even in this time. And one thing about coaching is that adults need coaching too. Writers need coaching. And to take advantage of the offer for a free coaching session, which is on, if you visit enabletables.com, our website, you can sign up for a free coaching session. And that's anyone, not just a child, but Larry works quite a bit with adults who are trying to make the next move, because following this situation, everybody's got to move forward. And there's probably going to be a lot of books written, a lot of authors, where a lot of people are going to be calling you to join our group, I hope. So just want to thank you.
Well, I thank you, Audrey and Larry, for your effort and for keeping us on track. I thank all the folks that joined us today, and we'll view this asynchronously down the road. We are recording this. I encourage folks who are writers, authors in the greater Charlotte metro north area to join our regional association, and be on the lookout for more information to come on lessons learned. If you are an author, regardless of where you are located, you're welcome to share your story, the lesson that you learned as an author, the story behind the story. Reach out to us at hiddentreasurenovels.com, the HTN network, or on YouTube at Lessons Learned. We so look forward to hearing from you. We wish you a great day. Hope to see some of you tonight on the Enable Tables session, and have a wonderful week and a wonderful holiday. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, guys. Have a great day.